Hello, everyone. Delighted to have all of you joining us today. We are going live with some of the incredible members of our DEIA committee. DEIA, yes, DEIA committee. Before we jump into it, just want to get us started with a centering. So I invite all of you to just find a very comfortable position and whatever comfortable means for you at this point in time. So some of you may be sitting on the floor like me, or you may be in a chair, you may be lying down, whatever works for you at this point in time. You may also find that you need to do a couple little adjustments just to find that right spot. And just begin to notice your breath. Just focusing on your inhales and your exhales. And being mindful of what's happening in your mind. And beginning to relax your body. And if your mind feels like it's wandering a bit, just bring your awareness back to the breath without any judgment, being very compassionate with ourselves if we have a bit of a racing mind today. I want you to start to think of a color that means warmth and happiness for you, whatever that color is. And just think about inhaling that color and letting that feeling flow throughout your entire body. Imagine your breath being just like a paintbrush, painting this throughout your entire body. And as you're exhaling, just exhale any stress, any tension. Let that color bring you ease and relaxation as you draw it in. And note, what is the shade of that color for you? Is it bright? Is it pale? Is it somewhere in between? I invite you to have just the littlest bit of a smile at the edge of your lips. Yes, this is your happy color. And just sit there for a little bit with your breath and with your color. Just finding ease and finding peace. And slowly begin to bring your awareness back to your surroundings, noticing the smells, the sounds, noticing yourself grounded in your space. Maybe you want to roll your shoulders just a little bit. Maybe wiggle your fingertips. And just a few more breaths here. And then slowly let your eyes flutter open. And again, thank you so much for joining us today. So, welcome again, everyone. We are so excited to have you join us as we spotlight the incredible work that is happening with IAYT's Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility Committee, also known as the DEIAC. At IAYT, we are deeply committed to creating an inclusive and equitable space within the field of yoga therapy. And this is very much a central part of our current strategic plan. Priority 2 of our strategic plan specifically focuses on embedding DEIA principles throughout every aspect of the organization. And we do recognize that fostering diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility is essential for creating a thriving, supportive, and representative yoga therapy community. So, by addressing these systemic barriers and amplifying diverse voices, we aim to make yoga therapy more accessible and relevant to all people, regardless of background, identity, or ability. So today we are going to hear from volunteers who are actively working on DEIA initiatives and learn about their experiences, their motivations, and the vision for the future of yoga therapy. We also have with us Dominique Ferreira Hawkins. She's our staff liaison to the DEIAC, and Robin Rothenberg, who is our board liaison and interim board president. We hope that you find this conversation inspiring and that it encourages you to get involved in supporting these important efforts within our community. So let's get started with a couple of questions. And I'm going to begin by asking everyone to share a little bit about their background. Specifically, I want to hear from Hope, Matra, Jeff. We'll let Robin and Dominique jump in a little bit later as well. But I really want to hear a little bit about your background, share a little bit about you, and what motivated you to volunteer to be part of IAYT's DEIA committee. And I guess I will start with who I see first, which is Hope.
Okay, I'm up first. Well, good afternoon, everyone, or early afternoon. I'm in California, so it's Pacific time for me. I was very excited to participate in the committee because my background is a labor attorney, so I represent union members in workplace concerns. And also, I just really have a strong passion around people of color being able to access training, to become certified, to become yoga therapists or yoga instructors. So I saw this as an opportunity for me to give back and be of service, and to also kind of further my passion along making sure that those who have been injured or the elderly or people of color are able to have access to yoga. So that's how I came on board, and I'm enjoying it so far. Recently became co-chair of the committee. So thank you. We are working very hard to further the board's strategic goals. And I think we got some great things coming up in 2025 that hopefully everyone will be excited about and participate in, and so that we can gain more knowledge and be able to help more people.
Thank you so much, Hope. We are so delighted to have you on board. And I was going to mention that you were the co-chair. I forgot to mention that earlier. But I won't forget to mention that Jeff is the vice chair. So we will move on to Jeff. And same question, your background and what motivated you to be a part of the committee.
Thanks, Marita. It's really wonderful to be here. I'm really excited to be a part of this committee and contribute in any way that I can. My background, professional life has been a journey. I think as many are. I started actually in Oakland, California, doing in the public schools, working with the deaf and hard of hearing and with the autism populations. And that's a near and dear space for me still, even though I've navigated into project management, program management, communications with associations and higher education. But I still feel that all of the work I did with the kids has laid the foundation for how I look at relationship and communication and community, making sure everyone is included, making sure everyone feels heard, making sure everyone feels that they have a space to advocate for themselves and speak up for themselves. I work at a medical association right now, and I'm on 2 DEI committees there as well. And one has been a really great experience working with a very small group of people from different departments and practicing how to hold these conversations that can be challenging sometimes. And I really try and language that as like these, not to call them hard and tough conversations, but that sort of, I think, keeps people at bay. But looking at these can be challenging, but challenge is a healthy part of life. And how do we step into that space together and talk through it and think through it and practice? In another DEI committee, we're working more in our department on how we stand up and be allies. What does that mean? How do we hear this certain words thrown around a lot, but like, what do they actually mean to us? And how do we come to understand them together and have them evolve so we grow with our how we language our world? And so it's really great to bring those experiences in with this wonderful group of people I'm a part of the committee with, and take charge with the charters we've been given. And I'll stop talking.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jeff. You can't hear the airline in my background, right? Or can you? Okay, beauty of technology. For me, yeah, that's the importance of diversity. Generally, when I'm talking to people and stuff like that, because we all come to spaces with our different experiences, and it's really important just to hear from people, just to understand, so that we understand how we can create a more welcoming space for people. So I love this aspect, is really understand, because you cannot speak to someone else's experience. So all you can do is hope that you can bring someone that can help you understand, so that you can move forward in a healthier space. So I'll move to Matra. And Matra, you're a former board president as well. You are an advisory member on the committee, and really eager to hear from you, because you were quite instrumental in helping to bring this committee to fruition as well.
Okay, my roots goes very back to the childhood, and my parents put me in the school where there is a multicultural thing. Not only that, but one disadvantaged community, which really like an outcast. Those children were coming there, and they wanted me to just grow up and play with them and understand from that point in the grammar school. So it was really very natural for me to mingle with them and be friends with them. And afterwards, when I came to USA, YMCA after 9/11, there's a lot of unrest with the members, and they invited me to chair diversity committee. And for 7 years, we did lots of cultural thing, lots of healing, lots of dialogue among them. And I just use of the culinary thing in cultural programs, and costumes and dancing. So that way, all people came together. Otherwise, they were so afraid of talking or even the eye contact with each other at YMCA. And YMCA is like a multicultural, lot of people come from all walks of the life. So we were really fortunate to establish the communication, not only but the comfort level, um, and eye contact, and they just start talking, discussing, and then we did like beyond the violence, like quarterly workshops, and that also open up lots of avenue and resources for each and everyone to feel even more safer and comfortable. And when I came to IYT, IYT is always really wanted to do entire team. They believed very deeply in diversity, and they really want to have the diverse people on the board. And I may make sure that each and every level we have the diversity. And I'm very happy that this community came together, and I'm totally impressed with the background they are coming and the work they are doing. So I'm really fortunate to be with them.
Yes, quite actually a very amazing committee. Dominique had quite a key role in bringing that forward as well, and everyone just did a really, really amazing job. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I am Kelly. I'm IAYT's membership manager. And I know that personally, for me, one of the pieces of diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility is recognizing that we are limited by our own perception. You know, we don't know what we don't know, and being open to taking in and appreciating all perceptions, and everyone's viewpoints, and having a space that is open for people to share their own experiences and share diverse viewpoints. So I would like to know from a few of you, whoever wants to answer too, including Dominique or Robin, or any of the other committee members. What does diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility mean to you, both personally and professionally? That could be a little bit different. So there could be two pieces to that. Is there anyone who would like to go first, or I could pick someone?
I'll jump in.
Hope.
I guess for me, it is a welcoming and safe space in every sense of the word. No matter what your background is, your ability or limitations, that you are in a space that you feel you are valued and appreciated, and that you belong. And oftentimes, as an African-American female attending, first of all, my yoga practice started 15 years ago. And I've been a yoga teacher now for the past 4 years, and I finished my yoga therapy degree 2 years ago. And even to this day, sometimes I'm still the only Black person in the room when I teach a class or when I attend a class. So for me, it's about making sure that, yes, I personally want to encourage more people of color to begin a yoga practice. But also, I think those that are currently practicing or teaching should be able to provide welcoming, safe spaces so that people feel comfortable enough to share their practice and comfortable enough to return. So to me, and I feel it, that's how I see it personally. Professionally, it's the same way. You know, you want people to feel that they are valued in the workplace, that they have rights, that they are respected. And all of that comes along with making sure that we accept each other's differences, and also realizing that we're more alike than we are different, and being there to, help people move forward professionally and personally in both the workplace and in their personal life. So that's kind of what it means to me, and why I'm so very excited to be a part of this committee, to be able to take that passion and move it forward.
Thank you, Hope. Robin, go ahead.
So I'm actually not going to answer that question, but I'm going to add to the conversation by bringing forward the diversity on this committee that is not fully represented by the wonderful people who are here, because there are people who aren't here who bring in other perspectives. And so I just want to give a little shout out to Aaron and Lauren and Matthew, because they are also, they bring in perspectives. The whole of the team is remarkable. The people who applied were remarkable in the breadth and depth of the diversity. We wanted actually to have everybody be able to be on it. But I was Dominique and I, along with our friend Janet Caldwell, were on the nominating committee, and we were so impressed with the opportunity to bring together a group of people that were representative of so many different kinds of demographics and people that are not usually seen in a yoga class, as Hope you pointed out, and representing all, the LGBTQ community, the accessibility community, and helping us as a culture at IAYT to understand what this means, because we all love yoga, we all love yoga therapy, we believe in the healing power of yoga, and yet who gets to receive yoga therapy? And how do we make that more equitable, and how do we make it more accessible? And this group of people, that's their task, and they're awesome. And I am excited to have others be exposed to their ideas and how that's going to trickle down through the whole of IAYT in all the work that we do, and help to broaden our visibility and our accessibility to the greater population. So I just wanted to bring that forward.
Well, I'd like to add a little something there, being a person of color myself. I think this is so important, and is on both sides of it that we're looking. Is how do we get more people of diverse backgrounds to be part of the programs? So you're coming to study to be a yoga therapist, because that for me is really important as well, because representation is so important. When I go places and the teachers who are talking to me, like some of them look like me too, that's quite, I love that. I feel like that connection as well. So when you have that first bit, and then we teach persons who are part of these programs then how to create these welcoming spaces as well. So when people are coming to be a part of their sessions, that they then feel welcome in these spaces. So this is why I feel like this work is so important. It starts in this training up our yoga therapists, but then is also encouraging our yoga therapists to create these very welcoming spaces as well. And I'll throw it out to anyone else who wants to add as well.
I'll jump in quick. DEI for me, it's like a yoga practice. It's an evolving everyday practice, that it's not just if I'm a member of a committee or a studio owner or a yoga therapist, but like it has to be such an ingrained practice in each of our own like personal constitution to make that a priority, to continue learning, continue being humbled sometimes, and just listening and knowing that we're going to get things wrong. But it's like yoga, like it doesn't matter if you wobble and fall over in a pose, it's how gracefully you step back up and step back into your practice. Also being aware that things are invisible too. Again, going back to my background with kids with autism or deaf and hard of hearing, they can pass you on the street. You don't know what people's lives are like and what they step into every morning when they walk into their world, and just always, I don't know, I think it's so simple and so challenging, always just stepping forth, greeting everyone with the best intentions and knowing that it's a learning process as well.
I'll jump in and just have a briefing. I love everything that everyone has shared, and definitely part of what I would describe and reflect on as well for DEIA. I'll add in another component that I think is important to the conversation when we're thinking of like an organizational context and how to build out frameworks for this work within that context. I also think it's really important that those are rooted in evidence-based practices and research and understanding about, you know, behavioral and social science components to individual and collective change. I think you bring all of this like belonging piece, the welcoming piece, and look at, you know, what does work, what doesn't work, and bring that into the dialogue. And I think then there, you have really a great union for making some substantial substantive change over time. I just wanted to add that to the conversation as well.
Thank you, Dominique. Does anybody want to talk about what specific initiatives or projects you're currently working on within the DEIA committee? What's going on right now? What do you guys have in store?
Okay, I guess I'll take that. So I'm super excited. We have a lot of great things in store. I guess the first thing that I probably want to talk about is a group of town halls that we're looking to start in 2025. Basically, just kind of addressing some of the major issues or concerns around DEIA. I think our first one is cultural appropriation versus cultural appreciation. And, you know, just really going in depth around the discussion around kind of what's proper, what's not, paying honor to lineage, those types of things. I believe another one, if I'm right, Jeff, is about accessibility. In terms of, you know, making sure as yoga therapists that we are mindful of where people are in their present moment. And, you know, just kind of making sure that we use the correct language or background or setting so that people are comfortable and their practice is accessible. So we're very excited about that. I believe there'll be 4 town halls overall. I think something that might be of interest to the membership is we plan to send out a DEIA survey, basically to find out where your needs are in terms of attracting more people to your studio or to your program, or even if you just have concerns around language and word choice or policies or anything like that. Those are the things that we're hopeful that the survey will gather that data for us so that we can then provide it back to the membership and the board so that they have an understanding of kind of where we are and goals for moving forward. But the last and most exciting thing for me personally is sitar next year. Yay! I believe it's June 19th through the 21st. And June 19th happens to be Juneteenth. So the DEIA committee is super excited about hosting at this point, it looks like it's going to be a combination of a practice and a panel and maybe a walking meditation and discussion all around Juneteenth. Since it'll be in Atlanta, it feels just perfect to do it. Being in Atlanta with the King Memorial there and just the huge civil rights movement history in Atlanta, it feels really apropos. So yes, so that is probably one of the things I'm most excited about. is the town halls, the survey, and our Juneteenth experience. So did I miss anything, Jeff?
We had two other potential ideas for town halls.
Yes.
One was around gender inclusivity in yoga therapy, kind of thinking beyond the binary.
Yes.
And another one was what are economic barriers to accessing yoga therapy? How do we create equity in services?
Yes. Thank you for that. Because that one, I believe we want to focus more around how program directors can make their programs more accessible for individuals. And then also just kind of reaching a point to where we can hopefully help programs and studio owners open up more doors for those who finances are a prohibitive factor in them being able to be trained. So yes, thank you for that, Jeff, because that's a very important one.
And the other thing I'll tag on with the survey, and it taps into what Dominique was saying earlier about like operationalizing, is that for me, like data really doesn't lie if you've got good, clean data. So this is a great way to help us identify where there's gaps, help us to not make assumptions, and be limited by our own personal experience of what we think is happening with others and in other spaces. So I'm excited about the survey for sure. And then I was so excited at our last DEIA committee meeting because we were talking about the Juneteenth event. And in addition to every wonderful, exciting thing Hope described, we were thinking about, is there a way to draw in some storytelling as well, not just from people that are, on stage or whatever, but how do we draw in community to share what Juneteenth means to them, from all generations, from all backgrounds, and have that be a learning moment and to create space for everyone to have voice in that space. More to come. We're figuring it out.
I love that I can hear that excitement in your voice. Like as you're telling us like what is coming up, like I can feel that bubbling out of you. So that's truly exciting to hear, which makes me even more excited to hear this stuff. I'm very big. Anyone within IAYT knows that I'm very big on data, and I do think that you need to take stock of where you're at so that you can figure out how then do you move forward. And I love the opportunity to have these town halls, to have the dialogue. It goes to what we're talking about here. It helps us to understand each other, to also help everyone else to share our experiences as well. So I love it. I love it. I love it. And I have a question, and this question is, I would like to hear from everyone on this question, which is like, what is one change that you would like to see in IAYT as an organization or within the field of yoga therapy through your work with this committee?
Marita, it's a good question when they take a moment to think about it.
I was just going to say that this is going to be like school, like everyone's eyes will look away here. Don't pick me kind of thing. But, the reality is it is a big question, and there's nothing wrong with taking a little space. There's nothing wrong with, we're so accustomed to filling moments all the time, so there's nothing wrong with taking a little space to like think about it. What is that one thing?
It's interesting because when you first said the question, I thought to myself, well, they've done the one thing. And for me, it was very important that there was another path to certification for yoga therapists. That was very important to me as a woman of color, because I know a lot of people can't afford the full training. They can't afford to go through the process of all the practicum hours, pay, $10,000 or $12,000 to be certified. But I guess now that we're on that pathway, for me, a big goal would be to see more, just more access for all people of color, or inclusivity, accessibility, just more levels of access around being able to receive training programs, and even just community, more level of access around, I feel like the DEIA committee is its own little group of kind of specialized people from all these different areas, and kind of being able to transfer that out to the organization overall, to where more people are involved, more people have access to feel involved, and more people are feel invited to be a part, feel welcomed to be a part of the organization, and to take leadership roles and to be involved. So I guess that's what it would be as I think through it as we're talking about it.
And I really strongly believe that next leadership role or leadership will be from diversity. And that's what I always tell, that our next president should be a woman of color. And we have to show that we just connected with the one divinity. We have this great tool or philosophy in yoga. The divinity is one and we are connected with it.
Indeed. Anyone else got their thoughts together?
My answer may be more boring than Hope and Matcha. But when I think of the work we're trying to do, one thing that I'm excited about is how do we operationalize it? So each iteration of the committee builds off of the momentum and the traction of the prior members. And so we're always building, and we're always growing, and we're always evolving. And so just like thinking like, how do we transfer knowledge from one committee to the next iteration? Just things like that. I think when we create something like that, then again, we ensure that we're moving forward, and we can see the progress. Again, going back to sort of data, going back to sort of operations and stuff. Again, not very exciting, but I think it helps us track our progress.
I think that's boring. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know, because people might think I'm a little nerdy or so, but those things excite me, because there's no way that you can have growth without, think about how you're building your house. You must have a stable foundation, and then you start building on it, and you start building on that. And to me, if you want something to really have longevity, you really have to think about the systems that you have in place, and how do you keep passing along that information. So for me, not boring at all. That's almost like the backbone of what you're doing. So thank you for that.
And one super quick thing, I mean, connecting
the
systems with the DEIA lens. So as we're building those systems, policies, protocols, whatever, that there's an awareness that we're making it an equitable experience all the way through.
And we also see now in evolution of yoga in here, USA, now more and more services offering, and that catering to everyone, inclusivity is coming up now. Last 10 years. It was different 10 years ago. So now lots of organization, studios, schools, they are really including that offering of like seva. And that is very interesting aspect, so that everyone can attend, participate, learn, teach, and that's what I'm seeing in our area. So I'm here from 1975, but the change, I'm so fascinated. And with first town hall, this committee came. Now I'm excited about the next town hall, which is coming up. And that will take us to the much higher step. That's what I believe.
I love, Matra, that you were talking about inclusivity, because to answer this question, my one thing, and it's Marita and Kelly know this is a source, and even Robin, like a source of internal conversation, long list of initiatives that we would love to get off the ground, but for capacity of our small team. But it's the inclusivity of our international members and schools, and really making them feel really included in our organization. So it's top of mind. It's something we discuss internally very, very often. And I know we'll get there. So please be patient with us, but it is something that we are very attuned to. And that would be my one thing.
And one of our, I was going to say, one of our committee members is doesn't live in the States. So we are definitely trying to, even with the committee, expand into the international.
Yeah. You guys touched on so many of the things that I also like. Yes, that would be my one thing. All of your one things were my one thing. I'm there with you. As a program director, the piece that's most directly impactful to me is, and it's a challenge. Like, I would love to have a more diverse training group. You know, have my cohorts be made up of a wide range of different types of people coming from very different kinds of backgrounds. And I know the economic piece is an issue, and it's an issue for me, right? So, like, it's hard to run a program. It's hard to run a program and make any money. That's the truth of it. And then I would love to have scholarship funds available, and I'm not sure how to make that happen. That's one of the reasons why that town hall, I think, is so important, because the ideas are good, but on the real brass tax level, it comes down to the economics and how can we make it effective and affordable for program directors to make it effective and affordable and accessible to the populations, and how can we tackle that, and how can we bring ourselves together to do that, because that would make a huge difference. If even 15% of my training program was made up of BIPOC people, that would be huge and hugely different. And I would be happy. And I mean, I'll take 40, I'll take 60. Right? But just starting with reality, it would just be nice. And how to make that happen so that there's more people in the positions of leadership and in the positions of being seen and representing yoga therapy out in the public's eye, who look like the people in the communities that we so want to serve. So just that, nothing more.
I know we're almost out of time, but I just want to say two things first. Well, there's a question that came up that I'm seeing on Instagram. But first thing, Robin, I'm so glad you brought that to the fore, because I think that anything that we're doing has to also be grounded in reality. So again, because that base is important, because it actually has to be economically stable in terms of what we're doing, or we won't be able to keep it moving forward. And that's why I think these discussions are important, so that we can all learn from each other to figure out how some people might be out there getting this done and they have lessons for us, so I think that that's why this is so important. And the question that we have in the chat that I am seeing is if there are any LGBTQ plus members of the committee, and I guess I can put this here as well. Someone is also asking if anyone is identifying as neurodivergent.
I raised my hand for, I'm a member of the LGBTQIA plus community.
And we have another member as well on the committee that is a member of that community, and also a person that's neurodivergent. So yes, and yes.
Thank you. I see a message here that I'll just read out. This is coming through from LinkedIn. Thank you for your valuable sharing insights and coming from passion and contribution for connecting as one. Inclusion, open arms. This is from Vicky Oliver in brackets long. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vicky. We appreciate all your comments and your questions as well. I think that's all I'm seeing here now. So over to you, Kelly.
Thank you, Marita. And I just wanted to thank Dominique, Hope, Jeff, Matra, and Robin, and of course you too, Marita. Thank you all for being here and joining us for this important conversation. And of course, everyone who is watching on social media, we appreciate you being here today. And we hope you enjoyed learning more about the incredible volunteers and their work within IAYT's DEIA committee. As Marita mentioned at the opening, IAYT remains dedicated to integrating DEIA principles into everything we do. It is outlined in priority 2 of our strategic plan, ensuring that the organization, as well as our profession, becomes a more welcoming and inclusive field for all. I encourage you to reflect on the insights that were shared here today and think about how you might get involved in supporting these efforts in your own community, whether through volunteering or advocacy, or simply fostering inclusivity in your own yoga therapy practice. You can connect with IAYT on social media. We are at IAYT.org on Instagram. Facebook, we are facebook.com/IAYT.org. LinkedIn, you can search for International Association of Yoga Therapists. We're on YouTube at IAYT.org. We also have special private groups on Facebook for IAYT's member schools and IAYT certified yoga therapists. You can join us if you belong to those groups. And LinkedIn, again, search International Association of Yoga Therapists. There's a private group where these videos are posted after we do the live stream. Another great way to stay in touch with IAYT and our work is to subscribe to our e-newsletter. It's open to everyone. You don't have to be a member to receive the e-news. And that's a great place to see what's happening. You can sign up on the homepage at IAYT.org. If you scroll about halfway down, you'll see a button there where you can subscribe. And thank you so much for your time. We recognize that your time is precious and appreciate you choosing to spend it with us today. We hope you enjoy the rest of the day. And thank you again for being here. We'll see you at our next live stream.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.